welcome to AGK's Vinyl Life. I'm your host, Anthony K. And on this week's episode, I'm celebrating my 100th official episode on my channel. So I decided to do something special today. I can't believe I'm at 100 episodes. I actually have close to 150 videos on my channel. But over 20 of them are live stream replays. There's a dozen or so shorts. I started doing shorts this year. And there's the odd, what I call special mini episode that I've done maybe a special unboxing or something, or a preview for a record store day or some. There's been a handful of what I call minor mini episodes that I don't really count in my episode count. And if you ever noticed my thumbnails, I also have my episode number on there. But I like to do one long form episode every week on my channel, and those are what I would call my official episodes. This being a special episode, I figured I would, being 100 episodes, it's a milestone. So I thought I'd do something that would to mark that milestone. So I decided to start a thread, to hopefully start a thread. I've got my trusty iPad here. I've been crafting these questions for a few days now, thinking them over, redoing them, and I finally got them. And today's episode is going to be 10 questions for music lovers. And I hope people make videos and respond to this thread. It would really be nice to see people respond to this thread and take these 10 questions and go with them and run with them. So let's cross our fingers that happens. And I worked hard on these questions. I'm happy with these questions. And the great thing about these questions is these questions aren't just for vinyl community members. These questions are 10 questions for music lovers. So you don't need to be a vinyl community member. You don't need to have a vinyl community channel to answer these questions. You don't even have to film a video if you don't want to answer these questions. You can put your answers in the comments. I've crafted these questions to be pretty much open to anybody that's a music lover. I've kind of tried to cover all bases of being a music lover. All these questions will be in the description below my video. I will be putting all these questions in my description below the video so you guys can review them for making your own videos or for doing the comments. And let's get on with it. It's not going to be a very long video, as I've only got 10 questions here. And let's just do this. Let's just have some fun and do 10 questions for music lovers. And maybe, who knows, maybe if I get like a lot of responses to this thread, I might even throw a contest prize in there. We'll just see how this thread goes. And in a few weeks, if I've seen a lot of people answer this thread, maybe I'll announce that I'm going to turn it into a contest. But for right now, it's just a thread. We'll see what the response is to it. And I really hope there's a great response to it. And if so, who knows, it might end up being a contest. We'll see down the line. So here's the 10 questions. Let's get on with them. 10 questions for music lovers. And the first and the most simplest way to start this off is question number 1. How often do you listen to music? When, where, and for how long? And by that I mean, like, do you listen to music every day? Do you listen to it 1 or 2 days a week? What time of day do you listen to the music? Where are you listening to the music? For me, I probably listen to music I listen to music every single day. When I listen to music, well, I try to listen to music in the evenings. I try to at least, in my free time, try to listen to some music for a little while in the evenings. But I listen to my music probably for the most amount of time in the daytime when I'm driving in my car, because I Uber. My main job right now is Ubering, so I spend a lot of time in my car. And when you Uber, you just listen to tunes, and you drive and listen to tunes. So for me, how often do I listen to music? Every single day. When? In the afternoons, in the daytime, and in the evening. And where? Well, at home in the evenings and in my car in the daytimes. And for how long? Quite a few hours. Probably, if you combine my time spent in the car listening to music with my evening listening to music, I probably listen to music 5 or 6 hours a day. So that answers question number 1. How often do you listen to music? When, where, and for how long? Question number 2 is, how do you listen to the majority of your music? Is it on radio, a streaming service, or physical media? So how do you listen to the majority of your music? And for example, in my case, how do I listen to the majority of my music? I would have to say probably physical media, because most of my listening is in my car, and it's through CDs in my car that are loaded actually onto a hard drive in my car. So the majority of my music listening is probably actually through physical media. So you can answer that how you want. Maybe some people listen to the radio more than they actually listen to their physical media. Nowadays, a lot of people stream their Spotify and whatnot. So they probably do spend more hours streaming music than anything else. But that's basically question number 2. How do you listen to the majority of your music? Radio, streaming service, or physical media? Question number 3. And this one is now pertaining to radio and streaming. For question number 3, I'm going with name your favorite radio station or stations and or streaming services. So for example, for me, my favorite radio stations would go back as far as in the 70s. When I was listening to radio as a teen, I was listening to AM radio, and here in Toronto I listened to 1050 Chum AM and CFTR 680 AM. And then when I got a little older and became an older teen, it was cool to listen to FM radio, so I was listening to Chum FM. And then when the big rock station opened here in the mid 70s, Q107, Toronto's best rock, that was my main station. And if I do listen to the radio nowadays, I probably tune into Q107, Toronto's best rock. And there was also CFNY, The Edge, 102.1, famous for the Rush song Spirit of Radio, because the Rush song Spirit of Radio was all about that radio station, CFNY, the Spirit of Radio, which is now called The Edge, but their slogan was CFNY 102.1, the Spirit of Radio, which, like I said, trivially, the Rush song Spirit of the Radio is about. So that's how I listen to my radio. That's as far as my listening. As far as radio and streaming goes, I don't really stream music on Spotify. I do have Amazon Music. I never use it. My daughter's got Spotify, and if she's in the car, she'll start streaming her Spotify to the car stereo, so I might hear a little streaming there, but I really don't stream that much. But other people out there, you may stream a lot more than you listen to radio. I think streaming is probably more popular now than listening to the radio. But it'd be interesting to see what you guys say. So for question number 3, radio and streaming, name your favorite radio stations and or streaming services. Question number 4. We're going to go to physical media now. Question number 4 is physical media. And the first question in the physical media category is, what year did you buy your first piece of physical music media? What was the artist, title, and format? So for my example, to answer that question, though I did start with 7-inch singles when I was a teenager, because I didn't have a lot of money and I got an allowance, I would buy a lot of 7-inch singles. 7-inch singles. I would buy a lot of 7-inch singles, and if I remember right, it's really hard to remember what my very first 7-inch single was, because that was like 1970, 71 when I was buying the odd 7-inch single. I remember a 7-inch single, and I just remember the name of the song was Elephant Candy. I should have looked it up before the video, but I remember the song was Elephant Candy. That's certainly one of the first 7-inch singles I ever bought. But I know what my first LP was, so I'm going to go with my very first album that I got. So my very first piece of physical music media was on LP, was this LP right here. That's right. James Bond 10th anniversary album super pack, and this is my original first copy. I used to initial all my records back in the day, and if you look inside here on the discs, it has AGK 72, meaning I bought this album in 1972. It was my first piece of physical media in the form of an LP. Though like I said, I did have some 7-inch singles before this, but this was my first LP. I've shown it before. This was my very first record LP, because I'm a huge James Bond fan going back to my teen years. So my first record that I actually bought, my first record LP, is this exact album right here, the James Bond 10th anniversary album super pack. It was a double LP compilation, taking the themes and incidental music from all of the Connery era films up to Diamonds Are Forever. So that is my first piece of physical media, music media from 1972. And that answers question number 4. What year did you buy your first piece of physical music media? And what was the artist, title, and format? Question number 5 now. We're going on to question number 5. Question number 5 is also pertaining to physical media. And it is quite simply, what forms of physical media do you own? And which do you have the most of? For example, vinyl, CD, cassette tape, 8-track tape, etc. Well, me being a big music lover and collector, I have most forms of physical media. As you know, I just showed you a 12-inch vinyl record album. Of course, I also own 7-inch singles such as this Pet Shop Boys Love Comes Quickly single from back in the day. And also 10-inch singles. Here's a 10-inch, not 10-inch single, but 10-inch LPs. This is Black Market Clash by The Clash. It's an EP. It's a 10-inch EP by The Clash. So that's some physical media there. I also, of course, own cassette tapes. I do own 8-track tapes and even reel-to-reels, but unfortunately my reel-to-reels, the few reel-to-reels that I do own, are packed away with my reel-to-reel deck. I have an old Akai reel-to-reel deck, which is put away, and there are some reel-to-reel tapes with it. I also have 8-track tapes, and I have an in-home 8-track tape player, and I have some 8-track tapes, but they are unfortunately packed away as well. I used to have I had 8-track tape players in my car. My first car had an 8-track tape player, and even my boat had an 8-track tape player. So I actually had quite a few 8-track tapes, and I still do, but they were too far packed away to pull them out for this video. So I have 8-track tapes. Of course, cassette tapes. I have cassette tapes such as this Swingin' Safari by Burt Camford and his orchestra. This is probably the oldest cassette tape I have. Yes, I did love this album when I was a kid. Burt Camford's A Swingin' Safari on cassette, old school cassette tape. But I didn't really get into too many pre-made cassette tapes in the 70s. That is a early 70s cassette tape, that one. But I bought more cassette tapes in the 80s when cassette tapes were much, much more popular in the 80s, such as this original Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction cassette tape. So I still have quite a few cassette tapes, but I never really bought a lot of pre-made cassette tapes. I recorded my own. I actually have well over 200 cassettes in my collection, and I still run my cassette tape player. I even run a cassette Walkman when I take my dog for a walk. Sometimes I throw on my cassette Walkman and listen to my old tapes. And I do have, of course, a cassette deck hooked up to my stereo system. I probably had a total of maybe 30 to 40 pre-recorded cassettes because I found the pre-recorded cassette quality wasn't quite as good as making your own. And the majority of my cassettes, close to 200 cassettes, are home, I guess you call mixed tapes, where I record LPs. I'd borrow friends' LPs so I didn't have to buy LPs. This way I could increase my library. I borrow my friends' LPs and record them on cassette. This is what is one of my favorite brands. This is a good old TDK SA90 cassette. And as you can see on this particular cassette, it has 2 albums that I never actually owned. Billy Idol's Rebel Yell with the flip side of Def Leppard's Pyromania that I'd borrowed from friends and recorded on this TDK SA90 cassette. And I did a lot of mixtapes. So I have close to 200 home recorded cassettes myself. And last, of course, the least, cassette tapes, 8-track tapes, vinyl records of all sorts. Of course, then in 1986 or 7, I think 1987 was when I got my first CD player. And this is one of the earliest CDs I ever owned. And this is Nazareth Classics, Volume 16. It was part of a series of CDs that A&M Records put out called the A&M Records 25th Anniversary CDs. And this was right at the beginning of the CD technology. And Nazareth were, of course, one of my biggest bands back in the day, and I'm even wearing a Nazareth t-shirt today from their new album. But yeah, this is definitely one of the first probably 10 CDs I ever bought in my lifetime. Nazareth Classics. It was a compilation best of Volume 16 in a series. I don't know how many were in the series. Nazareth was Volume 16. I know Supertramp had one. There were a number of A&M artists that were on these on these CDs, and this particular CD is from 1987. 1987, and as you can see, it has the old, in the early CDs had these old ADD, DDD symbols on them. They would all denote on here. So this was analog recording, analog mix, digital master. So the CDs also another form of media I own. What do I own the most of? Definitely vinyl LPs. My vinyl LP collection runs around, I'm thinking around 2,300 vinyl LPs right now, 7-inch singles, 10-inch, discs. I think I'm right around the 22 to 2,300 mark in my vinyl library. My CD library is close to 600 CDs, and then as I mentioned, I have a number of cassettes, 30 or so pre-recorded sets, over 200 cassettes in total. So that answers question number 5. What forms of physical media do you own, and which do you have the most of? On to question number 6. Question number 6 is the last of my physical media questions, and it's which form of physical media do you listen to the most? And like I said, even though I have close to 2,300 LPs in my record collection, I probably actually listen to my CDs more than my LPs, just because when I'm in the car doing my Ubering and Uber Eats in the daytime, and spending 4, 5, 6 hours, sometimes 7, 8 hours driving in my car, the majority of the music I listen to in that car is from my CD collection. My car has a hard drive in it, meaning that I can bring one of my CDs into the car, and as soon as I play it for the first time, it gets recorded onto the hard drive in the car. So everything I'm listening to in my car is from my hard drive. The majority of the time I'm listening to my hard drive in my car, which has close to 400 of my CDs loaded onto it. So even though I have 2,300 LPs, I probably listen to my CDs more than my vinyl LPs. I try to listen to 1 or 2 vinyl LPs when I do listen to my vinyl, but I only get the chance to really listen to vinyl maybe 3, 4, maybe 4 on the average, 4 days a week. I actually listen to vinyl records, and when I do listen to my vinyl records in a session, I play 1 or 2 of those vinyl records. So for sure, the majority of my music listening is probably coming from my CDs. So question number 6, which form of physical media do you listen to the most? On to question number 7. Question number 7 is, we're changing it up a little bit now. Question number 7 is, what's your favorite genre of music? I know we've talked about physical media, we've talked about radio and streaming, etc. But we never really talked about music styles. So question number 7, quite simply, what's your favorite genre of music? And for me, I listen to everything. People that watch my channel know I listen to everything: rock, pop, soul, funk, jazz, metal, symphonic metal, alternative, rap, soul, everything. I listen to everything under the sun. But what do I listen to? What's my favorite genre of music? I gotta go with rock and roll. What can I say? It was rock and roll, from when I was a teen. I'm a rocker, as you can see. I'm wearing Nazareth right now. A lot of the stuff I'm showing you today is rock. So I would have to say rock is my favorite genre. And when I say rock, I include all those subgenres like new wave and punk and metal. Back in the day when I worked at Sam the Record Man, there weren't a lot of these subgenres like we have now. There's so many subgenres I can't even keep up. We just grouped things together quite simply. There was a rock section, there was a classical section, there was a soundtrack section, there was a jazz section, there was a rhythm R&B section. Those were the main sections in the record store, and prog and metal and punk and everything was all mixed in the rock section. So for me, I'm a rocker. I'll always be a rocker. That'll be my number 1 genre of music. But like I said, for me, rock includes classic rock, rock and roll, blues rock, punk rock, new wave, alternative rock, indie rock. It's all in there. That is definitely my favorite genre of music among everything. So number 7, what's your favorite genre of music? On to question 8. Question 8 now, we're going to deal with live music. That's right, live music. And quite simply, what was the first large venue concert you ever went to, And what's the next you plan on going to? And if you have never been to a live concert, who would you like to see? So I've tried to cover all bases there, because I'm sure some people that are watching have maybe never been to a large venue concert. And when I say a large venue concert, I mean in a stadium or arena or a large music hall, a music center, a bowl, something. I'm not talking about in a club venue, in a small nightclub, or I'm not talking about those sort of concerts in clubs and so on, and nightclubs and rock clubs. I'm talking about large venue with thousands of people. What was your first large venue, arena, stadium concert you ever went to? So for me, a lot of people know from live streams and whatnot that and I've talked about this before, my very first large venue concert was Alice Cooper 1973 and the $1 Billion Babies Tour. And right here, and one day I will do this. People have seen this magical little book many times on streams. I don't think I've actually filmed this book. This is a collection of all my concert stubs from my lifetime. Pages and pages of concert stubs going through. I go to a lot of concerts. Pages and pages of concert stubs. Even got piles of envelopes of concert stubs in the back. These are all my concert stubs from the days when they used to print concert stubs. Of course, everything in the last probably 10 years is now in a digital wallet on my phone for concert stubs. But if you go to page 1 in the very first concert I went to in page 1 is right there. Alice Cooper. That's right. December 14th, 1973, Maple Leaf Gardens, Toronto, Alice Cooper and the $1 Billion Babies Tour. And this ticket cost me a grand total. And these were greens. They were medium quality seats, not bad seats at all. This ticket cost me, including tax, a total of $5.50. It was the very first concert I went to in my lifetime. One day maybe I'll show you this entire book of concert tickets, and I'll do a video about all the concerts I've been to and show you a whole whack of cool ticket stubs, because I've been to a lot of concerts. So that was my very first concert. And the next concert I am going to is actually in July, this July. In just about a month from now, I'm going with my daughter to see Dua Lipa. That's right, Dua Lipa with my daughter. Then in August, I am going to see Greta Van Fleet, The Pretty Reckless, The Scorpions, and Whitesnake, all in August. I'm seeing those guys all in big venue concerts. In September, I'm seeing New Order and the Pet Shop Boys in September, live in concert. And in October, I'm seeing The Who and Iron Maiden in concert in October. So question number 8, what was your first large venue concert, and what's the next you plan to go to? And if you've never been, who would you like to go see for your first concert? We're almost done. We're almost through them now. We're on to question number 9 now. And question number 9 is, we're changing subject again, and these last two are really, really out there questions for music lovers. And question number 9 is, if you had the power to bring one music artist back from the dead, who would you resurrect and why? And for me, to give you an example of who I would like to bring back from the dead, who I would resurrect if I had the power to bring somebody back to life, who would I bring back and why? It would be this man right here. It would be this man, Mr. Phil Lynott of Thin Lizzy. That's right, Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy fame. This man right here, also featured on this album cover right here, Mr. Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy. He would be the one I would resurrect and bring back to life. And why would I bring him back to life? Thin Lizzy had disbanded in early 1983, and Phil was working on a new band called Grand Slam. They had recorded a few tracks, done a couple live gigs. It was supposed to be Phil's next chapter in his journey as a musician, Grand Slam. And so Phil died the day after my birthday. My birthday's on January 3rd. Phil died on January 4th. It was the one music artist that really truly affected me, that I cried when he died, because I was a huge fan of Phil and Thin Lizzy at that time, and his music was unfinished. So for me, the artist I would resurrect would be Phil Lynott, so that he could make Grand Slam and we could see where he went with his next chapter in music. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys say. Who would you bring back to life and why? And the final question of my 10 questions for music lovers, the final question is a simple one. If you could only hear one last song in your lifetime, what would it be? And that could be maybe your favorite song or something else. But yeah, let's say that for some reason music was outlawed or something. You could only ever hear one last song in your lifetime. Maybe you're about to go deaf and you're losing your hearing, and doctors told you in moments you have got no more hearing. Whatever. If you could only hear one last song in your lifetime, maybe you're on your deathbed. I know that's kind of morbid. Maybe you're about to die and you want to hear one last song. Whatever. Whatever the reason, if you could only hear one last song in your lifetime, what would that song be? And I would have to probably choose what is my favorite song of my lifetime to this day and always will be. And it would be a song from this album here by Mr. Jimi Hendrix. From this album right here, Electric Ladyhand by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. And it would be this song right here, All Along the Watchtower. If it was the last song I ever would hear, I would want to hear All Along the Watchtower. I've said it before, it is my favorite song of my lifetime. And if I could only hear one more song, definitely Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower for my last song. And there, my 10 questions for music lovers. I hope people jump on this thread and do a response to this thread. It would be an honor if people did a response to this thread. You can do it, like I said, you can do it in a video for your channel. But if you don't have a YouTube channel and you're just a person that watches YouTube videos and comments, throw your 10 answers to the 10 questions in the comments below this video. I'm going to read them all. And like I said, if I get a lot of responses to this video and a lot of people do this thread, I might even turn this into a contest and give a prize out. So we'll just see how many people respond to this thread and do a response to this thread. I hope a lot of people do a response to this thread. It would really make me happy, and great way to celebrate my 100th long form episode on my channel. And here's to the next, who knows how many. I don't know if I'll do another 100, but we'll see. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thumbs up always make people feel great. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn that notification bell on so you can get that annoying little ding 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 and pop up on the screen of your phone or your tablet or your computer that AGK has dropped another video on his channel. And of course the next video will be episode number 101. So yeah, turn that notification bell on. And of course, comments down below. I reply to every single comment I get on my channel. And last but not least, if you're not a follower of my Instagram channel, follow my Instagram, where I try to post my spin of the day every day, among other things. So I hope you enjoyed my 100th episode and my 10 questions for music lovers. I really hope to see some responses to this thread, and I'll see you guys in my next video. And as I always say, rock and roll.